Hello, gorgeouses. Happy Wednesday. Oh, welcome to the morning show. Did you know that today is episode 100? Holy everything. 100 times we have been here together. 100 mornings we have gotten up, we have gotten ourselves together, and we have made this happen. Good morning. How are you feeling? I am your host, Marli Ansel, at Marli Ansel on the Instagrams. Hi. Can you guys believe 100 episodes? Like, what? So, let's say this. This entire show was spirit led. This was just one of those, like, I received, spirit said, go live with the morning show. The name came kind of a little bit later, all at once. Go live with the morning show every single morning. And I'll tell you, this is so funny. I negotiated. I was like, every morning? Every morning. And here we are, the consistency that creates the compound effect. Here we are with 100 episodes in, and it has been literally the most magical pathway ever. No words what we've been able to create here with the magic of the morning show. And here we are at our 100th episode. Let's freaking go. Okay, so we've got a lot going on. Today, we're talking about taking your life from meh to magic, and we're going to dive into and detail out the exact process. I'm so excited to bring this to you today. And we have a very significant new moon happening on Friday. So on Friday, there is a new moon in Cancer. This new moon creates a reset. Now, all new moons are new beginnings, new cycles starting here. But this one in particular creates a reset energy because with this new moon, we go back into the natural way of the new moon comes first and then the full moon comes in the month. So we had been in this inversion for, I think, about a year. I want to say a year. We've been in this inversion where the full moon came first and then the new moon. So, with this new moon, we reset back into the natural order of things where the new moon comes first and then the full moon occurs. And what that essentially means is you can kind of think about it more like metaphorically for yourself. Like in the past, in this past year, it's been an inversion of energy. We've been looking at what we needed to let go of first, initially, more of that energy going to that rather than what are we initiating. Well, now the initiation starts. Now the energy is ripe for us to really step into whatever it is that we're fully initiating for ourselves. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a really beautiful energy. We will be here Friday morning with our Q&A on that new moon day. So bring your questions, divulge your soul, and we'll make it a whole vibe. I'm very, very excited about it. Okay, so how are we feeling this Wednesday morning? How's everything? Give me the vibe. Today we're diving in to going from meh to magic, and I'm going to bring you guys all of the things that you need to know in order to take your life from that humdrum, mediocre, same cycle repeating. Why can I not get my life there? I don't know how to get out of this cycle of life, the stuckness. We're going to talk about the process to take it to pure magic where everything is lining up for you, where it feels like a miracle on a daily basis, where even when, and this is really important, I'm going to say this right now, life is going to life. Life is going to bring you challenges that are completely unexpected, that are curveballs out of nowhere. And there is no, hear me, there is no avoiding life's challenges. You can't inner work your way into not losing a loved one. That's a challenge. That's hard. Life is going to throw us stuff that is completely unexpected. It's not about getting rid of challenges. It's not about not having these curveballs. It is about creating a level of life where even when Even when shit goes sideways, even when you get thrown something that is totally out of left field, even then, you still are operating from a baseline of happy. I'm happy. Even when crazy things happen, even when you're in an argument with your partner, even when if you lose your job, even when something just totally like, how did what just happen? I'm still happy. I still have this beautiful baseline of happy. I remember I have a very distinct memory of talking with a client, and it was in particular, this one was on relationship coaching and helping her with her marriage and her partnership. And it stands out to me because when you're in your own relationship and say your relationship is good, say that's not an area of life that life's dealing you lessons in, like you're good. When someone else is telling you about where they're coming from and you're sharing where you are and they're surprised by it, it stands out. It stands out. So in this particular case, I was telling her about how even when Robert and I have a disagreement, even when we're in what we call ego battles are, ego battles are where you're like, you want to be right, but they want to be right. And you're just kind of in a standstill. Even when we're in those kind of situations where there's emotional triggers happening, where there's like frustration happening, I'm still happy. I'm still happy with him. I'm still happy in my relationship. There's a baseline of happy. So the goal is not to make life perfect. The goal is to build yourself to this level of joy and happiness no matter what's happening. And with that, you become available to a level of life that has the magical synchronicities, that has these things happen where you're sitting there going, oh my God, how did that happen? So life's throwing you the curveballs left and right over here, but then you also become available for the magical synchronicities that you cannot believe are happening. So let's dive in. Let's talk about it all. Good morning, everyone. Everyone celebrate our 100th episode. Drop 100 in the comments. Let's go. Can you believe we've been here 100 mornings in a row? Let's go. Okay, so let's talk about your baseline. Everyone has a baseline. You have a baseline, it's your energetic frequency, but we'll try to like take it into practical terms. You have a baseline of happy. Everybody does. Everybody has a baseline of what they believe life is. Everyone has a baseline of what they believe that is possible for them in their life. Everybody does. That is your like starting point, right? And as it develops over time, whoop, you're good, Heather. As it develops over time, it's gonna change. It's gonna hopefully elevate, not go down. So that baseline that you have, that is like my standard emotional being, that baseline is created from an accumulation of your life over the years, things that have happened, definitions about yourself that you've created, past trauma points, past emotional triggers and emotional balls or blocks that you haven't fully processed out, or things that are beautiful things that have happened, your foundations of life. If you have a very good, solid family unit, all of these things are building your baseline of happy. Now, it's important to really know this and to tune in and to really ask yourself, what is my baseline currently? Just currently, am I happy? Like, no matter what's going on in life, I still have this really like beautiful baseline of happy. Like, I'm happy. Am I not so happy? And again, we want to get super honest about it. Okay? So don't I always say there's no shame in the game. Don't sugarcoat it to try to get the right answer. Like be honest with yourself because this is how we get somewhere. So there's happy and then there's, maybe just kind of in the middle. Like you're not unhappy, but you're not really happy, right? You feel me on that? And then there's like unhappy. Like life is I am not good. I am not at a good place. My resting happy baseline is life is not that great. I need to fix everything. I've got to get out of this. You feel me on that? So you just want to get honest with yourself with where you're at. Now, once we identify that, the first thing that you're doing here is starting to get in touch with yourself, which is a huge quantum leap in general for most people, because most people are walking through life blaming life for how they feel, and they're never actually assessing what's going on inside of me. So we have to get in touch with what's happening here. Because when you have a baseline of happy, hear me on this, no matter what you shift, change, rearrange outside of you, you will always come back to your baseline of happy. No matter what. You look at your life. How many times have you had something amazing happen? And it's this huge like uptick, acceleration. Oh my God, I'm so excited. It's amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then what? Next day, next week, next month, next year, it levels out. It comes back to your baseline of happy. So it can't be external circumstances that are the reason for our happy or our unhappy. That is a huge realization. It can't be if this was better, then I'd be happy. If I had that, then I'd be happy. It can't be because throughout your life, you have had things come, you've had things go. You've had situations happen that were unexpected. You've had miraculous things that were unexpected. The baseline of your happy line and who you feel you are and what you feel is possible in your life remains this steady place. You with me? So it can't be things that are happening outside of you. It has to be what's going on inside. And so we've got to get in touch with where you are currently because you got to have a marker to know where you're starting, right? We always say in here, acceptance is transcendence. You cannot change anything. You cannot move forward on anything until you accept where you are. But once you accept where you are and be good with it, because it's not like I accept where I am and now I'm stuck here. It's I accept where I am and this is my starting point. No matter how old you are, no matter how many things you've been through, no matter how many shoulds you have put on your life that says you should have been further or blah, blah, blah. I should already be married. I should already be rich. I should already be with kids or whatever it is. I should already be a mogul, whatever your aspiration is, drop all the shoulds, accept where you are. This is where you're starting. This is where you're starting and be good with it. Get excited about it because this is baseline, which means it only goes up from here. So let's freaking go. Now, it only goes up from here with the right process. Because if you are not because you're here with me. But most people, what they do is they try to change the outside and then that baseline never changes and it just creates a loop, right? We talk about the loop all the time because we should call it like the loop of death, the loop of mediocrity, the loop of sameness, holding that baseline that stays here and trying to change your internal happiness through external things is going to create that loop of death, that loop of mediocrity, that loop of sameness. It doesn't work. So we get in touch with where we are. We get in touch with this current baseline. Am I happy? Am I unhappy? Am I meh? Somewhere in the middle? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Just assess where you are. Now, from here, this is where it starts to get really fun because everything that you feel, everything you experience, everything that you operate as is a product of your own internal mind and emotions. Everything. Everything comes back to what you're thinking and believing and what you're feeling. So if everything comes back to what I'm thinking and believing and what I'm feeling, then who is in charge of shifting and rearranging what it is that I am thinking and believing and feeling on a daily basis? If I can change what's happening internally, and that's going to shift my baseline of happy, nothing outside of me had to change yet, but I'm happier. You see where I'm going with this? Everything is within your control. Now, once you shift that baseline, what happens externally is that you're no longer closing yourself off to the opportunities, to the chance encounters, to the things that you could say yes to, which previous you at a lower baseline of happy, who was not in the mindset and the believing and the feeling state to be available for more, previous you might have subconsciously sabotaged it just because you would think that's not possible. So, through shifting the internal state, you become available for more because now your mindset is in a totally different place that says, well, maybe that is possible for me. Maybe that can happen for me. One of my favorite things and favorite moments in my own life is when I thought about something that I actually really, really, really want, like a deep desire. And for me, it's always travel, like things I really want. Actually, I'll give you an exact example. I had a friend living in Thailand. She was in the Peace Corps. And another friend of mine and her, we were all three friends. Another friend of mine said, "We should go to Thailand to visit her." I had never been out of the country at this point. Okay. Well, everybody to just really understand where I was at. I had never been out of the country. And my friend goes, "We should go to Thailand." It went from this moment of, that's crazy. That's the other side of the world. I've never even left the country ever, to, but what if I did do that? What if I did do that? You feel it? What if it is possible for me? What if the first country I visit outside of my own country is a 30-hour flight? What if? Spoiler alert, it 100% became the first country that I went to. And it was this magical thing that happened because think about one side of this. If you're on one side of this and you're going, that's not possible for me, that's not available, that's crazy, blah, blah, blah. And I'll say this, at this point, I had already started doing my personal inner work, and we're going to talk about it all. I had already started doing my inner work. I had already started moving those limiting belief systems out of my mind. I had already started processing those emotional blocks out of my body. I had been learning this work and actively applying it, and my life was changing exponentially. So at this point, when I made the decision of, what if that was what I did? What if I took it from dream state, what if state, to actual yes, reality, this is what we're doing state? So here's what happens when you do this. Now, for those of you who are keeping track, there's the emotional and mindset work, which we're going to talk about a little bit more in detail in a second. That makes available the things that you have in your dreamland state. And what's the word? Hang on. That makes available the ideas and the thoughts of the things and the visions that you have in your dream state, because you're like, oh, it would be so cool if doing the mindset and the emotional work brings it down to reality. It makes it a possibility in your reality, not because something outside of you changed, but because you changed. So when I made this decision and I was like, yeah, let's do it. This was also a time period where, and I think everyone goes through this depending on your background and your lifestyle that you grew up in. This was also a time period where I was realizing my life was my own. It was a time period where I was realizing I didn't need permission from other people. I didn't need to contact my dad and be like, "Is this okay? Is this okay that I'm doing this?" I didn't need to get approval. It was a time period where I was really starting to own my life, my happiness, my dreams, and the things that I wanted to do. And I was stopping playing by the rules in terms of like what's normal and what most people do. And I was starting to invite this really beautiful adventure, magic energy into my life. I was like, you know what? Why not? Why can't my life be these incredible experiences that I dream of having? The only thing that's stopping me between that being my actual living, breathing reality is me saying yes to it, me believing it's possible. And so I was in that state where I was making that huge transition of owning my life, deciding my life was not going to be mediocre, will not settle for that, absolutely not. And I was making those moves to start creating that experience of life into my actual real life. Okay, so here's what happened. I said, yes, we're doing it. Let's go to Thailand. Synchronistic events occur when you make a full body yes decision every single time. How much do you think a plane ticket to Thailand from the US is? How much do you think it is? Just drop it in the comments. What's your best guess? Plane ticket from I live in North Carolina to Thailand, other side of the country. Just drop a number. Drop your numbers. What's your guess? Oh wait. A plane ticket like this. Typically, you're looking at, yeah, four figures. You're looking at least $1,000, right? Maybe more. Round trip ticket. Round trip ticket. The universe just delivered it right in front of my face. $600. $600 for a round trip ticket to Bangkok, Thailand, which we also went to Bali and had all kinds of experiences. But point being, when you sit there and you say, I think I'm going to go to Thailand, what's the number one thing that most people get caught up in? Time, money. These are our two biggest excuses, which is very ironic because they are the resources that create our freedom. But what do? We sit there and use them as excuses to keep us out of our freedom. Money could have been a thing where I was like, I can't do that. It's going to be crazy. That's too much money, blah, blah, blah. I didn't care. I just said, whatever, we'll figure it out. Plane ticket at probably half the cost. Amber has 1,200 here, half the cost of what it normally is. Okay, what's the next excuse? Time. Now, I'll tell you this, I was in my corporate job. I had already used all of my PTO because that's who I am. I am not your star employee that never misses a day of work. Okay. Especially in a corporation. Now I run my own business. Life is work, work is life. It's all like muddled together. But in my corporation, I had already used all my PTO. So I could have easily said, that's not possible. I don't have any more paid time off. I said, I don't care. I'll figure it out. Said, let's go. I don't care that I don't have any more paid time off. We're doing it. Those of you who have been with me for a while know the story. In the time period between when I said yes to this trip and when we went to this trip, I grew this business. I had just started it, like just started it. So this was January timeframe. I had just started the business 3 months before, October. And I'll say this just for those of you who are entrepreneurs and are starting your business. It was not like I had just started showing up online in October. I had been showing up online with no business, no teaching, or no offers or paid things, gosh, for about a year. So I had started showing up in line in 2018, but I didn't launch my first offer until October of 2018. So it was like 6, 8 months of showing up online. I say that because I know that there is a lot out here. The car talks, exactly, Amber. There's a lot out here in terms of the entrepreneurial world where there's a lot of people that say, like, you can blow up overnight. No, you can blow up overnight, but it's because you have put in all of the 1 millimeter shifts building you up until that tipping point. Well, that's another talk for another day. But what I'm saying is, I launched my first offer in October of 2018. In January, I was still working my corporate job. January is when I decided we're going to Thailand. And then from the January time period until July, when we went to Thailand, my business made $100,000. I left my corporate job that next month. I left my corporate job, and I will say I don't recommend this for everyone, okay? But I left my corporate job right before my business really took off, meaning I didn't know that it was gonna take off. I had a feeling, you know what I mean? And you know how much I talk to you guys about follow the feeling. I had a feeling, there was no fear. I could feel this very big amplification energy happening, and I trusted it. So, point being, because I had worked on myself so much, I had built my inner state to a level of joy, stability, trust with myself and with life. And through that state of being, things started happening. Things started rearranging. I had this opportunity to go to Thailand. Instead of rejecting it, I was able to say yes, and say yes from a place of joy and excitement, not fear, not worry. It was not, I was no different than any other human operating in a corporate job. It was not like I had $30,000 saved up in the bank account or anything like that. I did not. I was in a different internal state. I had built myself to this level that felt like life is here for me. Life is here for me to live. Life is here for me to experience. And I was understanding on a very, very deep level that I am the one who it's being lived through. I'm the creator of this. And so, in that state of being, I was able to say yes to an incredible opportunity with nothing figured out. Didn't have the money figured out, didn't have the time figured out. All of those things that are normally our barriers that we say no to things for because of fear. Now, I want to really point this out. We don't say no because of time or because of money. We say no because of fear. And I had built my internal state to not be in a state of fear. Fear was a non existent thing. You feel me on this? We don't say no to life because of resources. We say no to life because of fear. We say no to life because we're like, I don't believe and trust in myself to figure it out. I don't believe and trust that it's possible for me. You guys with me on this? You are the center stage. You are the core. You are the source. And I want to really, really be clear here. This is not a willpower game. You feel me on this? This is not a willpower game. This is not okay, I'm gonna be confident and I'm not gonna be afraid anymore. No, 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 no. That's not how it works. You guys have heard me say it a million times, and I will continue to say it a million times. Willpower will not get you where you wanna go. Willpower is for sprints. Willpower is for like the decision of like, I am going to work on myself. That's where willpower lives. And then you do that internal work that builds you into that strong, sustainable state. Now it's just who you are. Do you feel me on this? Willpower doesn't need to be there because you have built yourself into such a beautiful, confident, trusting, magical state from the inside. And that is then going to be reflected to you everywhere in life. Everywhere in life. You with me on this? Chris said, this makes so much sense. I'm not believing in myself that I can do it. So then I loop. Yes. And so then what happens is you look for certainty in your outside world because the certainty hasn't been built inside. The only true certainty you have, because, and if you can hear everyone, if you can hear this right now, the majority of people are operating in their lives trying to build certainty outside of themselves. That's why people stay in jobs they hate because they want the certainty of the paycheck. That's why people stay in relationships that are not good for them because they want the certainty of the marriage even when it's not good. That's why people don't take chances, they don't take risks, they don't go for it because the certainty of smallness is always available. So, what happens when you don't build that certainty and that trust within yourself, you try to build it outside of you. But the thing about it is that the external world is always constantly moving and changing. It's a great illusion because think about it like this, like the certainty of the paycheck. You guys remember 2020? Jobs wiped out. That super certain thing that you thought was gonna be there forever, gone in a second. And then what? And then what? Let me tell you a story real quick. When I left my corporate job, they were going through, a reorg. Like, our positions got eliminated entirely. I was going to work with no job. Like, they were still paying me because they were reorganizing everything, but I had no job title, I had no direction, no whatever, like, had no idea what I was gonna do. So I was going to work every day, and I just started working on my business because, well, why not? Anyway, so the day that they were gonna assign us, they were gonna assign us, they were going to fire us, or that's it. You were getting assigned or you were getting let go, right? There was this guy, and I will never forget this. There was this guy, such a sweet guy. He had just had a baby with his wife, like newborn baby, and he was sweating, like sweating. And I talked to him, and he was like, I got a newborn baby. Like, I got a baby to feed. I can't lose my job. And I looked at him and I said, let me ask you something. Will you do whatever it takes to feed that child? And he's like, yeah. I said, then what are you worried about? And he was just like relaxed. He was like, oh. I was like, if you get let go today, you'll go get another job. What are you worried about? You gonna just roll over and die and not feed your baby? No. Do you know what I mean? But we get so caught up in this external world, we forget that we are the strongest resource we have. You will figure it out. Like, it's giving me goosebumps. Let's go. Let's go. The thing about it is that it all comes down to your trust and belief within you. And that is something that you have to build in yourself. It is a resilience within, it's a decision to work on it within you. And the reason I say it's not a willpower game is because the reason that you don't trust yourself right now is not because it's not for a lack of wanting to trust yourself. It is because for whatever your life path has dealt you, it has caused trauma or emotionality or mindset belief systems that have caused you to believe in not trusting yourself. But I'm gonna blow your mind right here. You're putting so much trust in not trusting yourself. You feel me on that? It's not that you don't have the capability to trust. It's not that you don't have the capability to hold faith. It's that you are holding trust and putting all of that power in not trusting yourself. So it's not your fault. I'm going to say this right now. It's not your fault that you currently don't have a relationship of trust, because if you weren't taught it, if you were given, shaky circumstances to begin with, and we're going all the way back to childhood here, if you grew up in a household with adults who don't trust themselves, who did not give you the certainty within yourself that you could trust your own decisions, that you could handle whatever life gave you. The flip side of it is if you had parents who coddled you, who took care of everything for you, and you never felt that edge of like having to do it yourself, it's just a muscle that hasn't been built within you. The trust muscle is a muscle that has to be built. And then we have things that we have to process. We've got to have that level of awareness to start to see what we've been believing. Because if I sat there and I said, I can't live my dream, I can't go and visit Thailand because money, time. By the way, I didn't have money or time. If the story did not convey that, I had some like get by, pay the bills kind of stuff, but I didn't have money or time. It was just like, I'll figure it out. But if we are raised in a way where we've never been taught to build that muscle within ourselves, and then we have the limits that are in our mind. So by the way, like, limits that you believe in are very sneaky in terms of you can't always see them. Like, you cannot see the belief system that's operating your life until you intentionally start to try to see it. Like, why do I believe that? Because it hides in that's just the way life is. Our belief system is like a fish in water. Like a fish doesn't know it's in water, it's just the way life is. So we're the same operating with our limitations in our mind. We're the same operating with our fears. We're the same operating with the emotional triggers until we start intentionally doing the work to get super curious about ourselves. We're just going to keep operating in the same little tiny bubble of life. So there's got to be a deep desire to want a bigger life. There's got to be a deep desire to stop postponing your experience of life that you want to have, to stop saying, hopefully one day that will happen, and to start saying, just like the Thailand trip, no, I think I'm going to say yes to this now. Why can't I have it now? Perfect place to start with your limiting belief system. Why not? Why not? And when you start to ask yourself these questions, you're going to start to see your cage of limitations. You're going to start to see the belief systems that pop up right away. You're going to start to feel the emotional blocks that are in your body because when you hit on a belief system that's a non truth, it's going to feel like something in your body. Or when you hit on something that's like, I want to do that, but why not? You might hit on that not enough emotion. You might hit on that unworthiness block. You might hit those wounds within yourself. This is the work. We're coming full circle. I told you guys we'd get here. The process is starting to break up those limitations by getting super uber clear on them and then processing out the old emotionality, the old emotional triggers, the old emotional blocks. It's not because something went wrong. It's because these things are like the armor that you've put on yourself for your entire life. And if you want to bust out of it and you want to live a life that's actually the life that you feel so called to, you have to take off those layers. You've got to do the internal work of letting go of the things that are not you while simultaneously building the strength and that trust relationship of you and you, which is your relationship of trust with yourself is your relationship of trust with life. So, to the degree that you trust life, that's how much you trust yourself. To the degree that you trust yourself, that's how much you trust life. You know the phrase people say all the time, like it's happening for you, like everything, life is happening for you, and you can hear it. To the degree that you actually believe that is how much you believe in your trust and support of you and you because life is just a reflection of you. So if I don't trust life to go my way, it's because I don't trust myself. You guys feel me on this? So when we're talking, I get so hype about it. You guys can see because when we're talking about this, it's not about go out and try to convince the world to be different. It's not try to like if you're an entrepreneur, it's not how do I convince the people to buy from me so that I can make a lot of money so I can have money and time freedom. No, it's about you. You are the one. It's not about how do I make my husband be different so I can be happy in the relationship. No, it's about you. You are the one. It's not about how do I get out of this job but still have my bills paid. Like I can't because it's the job and it's blah, blah, blah. No, it's about you. You are the one. And I get so hype about it because if you are the one, you're the one who can shift it. You're the one who can change it. And it's all about you shifting the internal state. And once you make that transformation, once you make that change, all of life has to adapt to you. I'm not saying it like it has to, like I hope, it's universal law. It has to shift and change as you do. So I'm going to say this, and it's going to be really blunt, but you guys know it's all from love. If you have been in the same looping experience and you feel like you've done everything to try to get out of it, the one thing you haven't done is actually transform internally. I'm just going to say right now, like if your life is reflecting back to you the same pattern over and over and over again, you have not actually transformed anything inside of you. You might have like listened to a lot of podcasts. You might have done a lot of gratitude work. You might have like journaled and all of those things, but the actual internal transformation of your energy, of your mindset, of your identity, who you believe you are, has not changed yet. Everything comes back to who you believe you are and what you believe is possible for you. And when you do this inner work, that's what gets transformed. It's not like it's nothing outside of you is changing until you change. And when you do the inner work, it starts to transform your definition of self, who you believe you are, and it transforms what you believe is possible for your life. And that's when everything opens up. Let's go. And it's so fun. It's so fun. And I'll say this, everybody gets in a rut, okay? Everybody has those moments where they feel stuck in what they're in and they're like, "Universe, what is it?" Sometimes it's really, really sneaky. It's okay. It's okay. There's always a way. I always come back to this. There's always a way. And you don't have to wait for the way. You don't have to search for the way. Like the way is in front of you. You've just got to be willing to see the way. There's always an opportunity. There's always a pathway. There's always an opportunity to shift and change and rearrange. Amen and hallelujahs. Let's go. Okay. So before we wrap, I have something I want to tell you guys. I am creating a new thing. It's a new thing. And I'm going to open it up as a beta container. For those of you who don't know, beta is essentially, it's like the creation of it. And I'm going to open it up at a much, much, much lower price. The container I want to create is going to be 3 months. And it is going to be around limiting and mindset work, emotional healing, this self-love journey, taking ownership of the self, adding the magic back in, how to get to that state of high vibrational manifesting. It's going to be a healing container of creating your life into a miracle matrix. And then I'm wanting to, so it's going to be an application process to come into it because you are essentially going to be the focus group that I create this container for. So the women that end up coming into this, I'm going to ask you some questions about where you're at in life, what you're experiencing, what's the looping pattern, what are you desiring, what are you wanting? And this container is going to guide you through emotional healing and triggers and the mindset work and the self-love and the identity shifting and the ownership and adding the magic back in. This container is going to be about that inner transformation. And you are going to essentially be like a founding member of this creation. So I'm going to be asking you questions, getting to know where you're at, your specific situation. And this container is going to have trainings and a group call and a private call with me once a month to create that pathway based on your life of meh to magic. So I'm saying all of it because this is brand baby new. As you can see, like this is the first time I'm speaking it to the public. If you are interested in being a beta member of this experience, I'm calling it the Miracle Matrix experience. If you're interested in being in it, send me a message. It's an application, not like are you good enough? It's just like, are you the right fit for this beta container? So you will fill out some questions and then we will hop on a call together and we'll talk about if this is right for you. I know the first question is always, how much is it? Can I do it? So everything's just going to be laid out there. It's a 3-month container. The price on it is $15.55 for 3 months. And it's going to have multiple at minimum weekly trainings that are going to be around the emotional healing, the triggers, the mindset work, all of that. I'm going to give you modalities to integrate into your everyday life. So it's going to be about not just the mind. A lot of the things that we do, like we can create really huge shifts with the mind, but it's going to be about you integrating these things into your everyday life. So it's not going to just be like listen and hear it with your mind. I'm going to be giving you modalities and things to integrate into your everyday so that you can create that transformation within yourself. So it's 3 months. There's going to be minimum one training per week. Minimum, I'm thinking there might be two even. It just depends. We're creating it together. And then we're going to have a monthly group call of everyone. And then you're going to have a private call with me where what I'm looking for in this is how is the work working on you? Where are you at? What are you feeling? How have the tools helped you? So we're essentially going to create this together. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about it. So it's 3 months. It's 1555. Those of you who know me, just to work with me for 1 month is minimum $2,000. So this is 1555 for the whole 3 months. If you're interested, if you feel like you're a good fit, so you're a good fit if you are ready and willing to do the work, you really want to create an inner transformation, you're all about it, and you are willing and able to give me feedback on the work as you're going. So that's really important because I need to know how I've never presented things in this way before. So I need to know how the work is landing for you. Is it helpful? Is the way that I'm delivering it to you creating that transformation? So if you're interested in being a beta member, just send me a message. Send me a message and I'll send you the application and then we'll schedule a call together to see if it's the right fit for you. Cool? Any questions? It's called the Miracle Matrix Experience. It's going to start the first week of August. So we're opening it up right now. We're going to fill it up in the next month, and it's going to officially start the first week of August. Okay, cool. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here on my 100th episode. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and a reminder that we do Q&A on Friday. So if you have a question that you would like to send into the show, you can send your questions to marlyansel.com/the morning show, and we will deep dive into the depths of whatever you have going on. Okay. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Please share the show if it resonated with you today. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe, especially on the YouTube channel. We're growing the YouTube channel. So hit subscribe on the YouTube channel. Those of you who watch the morning show on Instagram, there are videos coming out now twice a week on the YouTube channel. So you can binge out your goodness over there too. I love you. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.